Right is a meaningless term. The word far only has a meaning with regard to particular reference points. So I don't think we can accept your reference points as those of everybody.
OK, people are emailing us. We're getting lots of emails, not necessarily understanding where the BNP are, because some people label you as racist. You've clearly told us that that is not your policy. And yet Nick Griffin saying that Muslim people should not be allowed to practice their religion in this country. Where do you stand on that?
I don't think he's said shouldn't be allowed to practice their religion. I think what he has suggested is that there should be restrictions on halal.
He said to Adam Bolton last night that Islam is not welcome.
Well, he didn't say that Muslims should not be allowed to practice their religion. I think that's a misinterpretation of what he said. I didn't hear directly what he did say, so it's very difficult for me to make a judgment. But I'm sure he didn't say that the practice of Islam would be banned. And that's what the implication of your question.
Islam is not welcome is not something that you abide by, because that's what he did say to Adam Bolton.
Well, I'm not a Muslim, no. So certainly I don't intend to abide by it, no.
No, it's not welcome in Britain.
Well, I think that some manifestations of Islam in Britain have indeed been harmful. The prevalence of rather too many mosques, I think. I think the practice of halal meat is something that certainly isn't to my taste, and I don't think it should be allowed, certainly in a country that deplores animal cruelty. And some Islamists, if not all Muslims, perhaps we should make that distinction, have certainly used Islam to justify violence and even murder. But I'm not suggesting that all Muslims are guilty of that.
Therefore, follow-on question from that, would the BNP accept Muslims and blacks within their own party?
The answer to that under the Constitution is that only members of the indigenous community are eligible for membership. That isn't something that I set.
Perhaps you can explain to us what you mean by indigenous.
Yes, the people of this country who were descended from people who are in this country, say, from the period after the Second World War, when the country was relatively homogenous. I think most people do understand that word. I think it's, playing with niceties to pretend that you don't understand it.
Not that I don't understand it, it's your explanation of it, and that basically goes back to...
I'm afraid this is a division of labour. You ask the questions and I do the answers. I'm sure you'd prefer it if you did the questions and the answers.
No,
in which case, fine,
absolutely
but don't
not.
Invite me to come along.
Absolutely not.
Okay,
I'd like you to answer the question. I interrupted so rudely as you
answer
brought
it in my own way, not in the way that you necessarily want me to.
Okay, you started answering the question as to whether you would allow black and Muslim people to be within the BNP.
I beg your pardon?
You began to answer the question about whether blacks and Muslims are welcome or not within the BNP.
I've told you that. I've told you that the constitutional provision is that only the indigenous population are allowed. There's no reference to religion at all.
Okay,
In fact, I think on one occasion, if I remember correctly, Nick Griffin could probably correct me on this, there was indeed a Muslim candidate up in the northeast, but I think he was a convert.
OK, one final question to you, Mr Brons. You are an MEP, you will be serving in the Parliament there. What do you hope to achieve over the next year?
To find out as much as we can about the spending of our money and that of other members by the European Commission. We intend to play up our scrutiny role. The legislative role is relatively diminished for the European Parliament because, as you know, the Commission has the sole power of initiative and the Council has the sole power of enactment. So in those circumstances, the legislative role is diminished. Though we would look at legislation and we would take part in it, although our starting principle, our starting presumption is that any encroachment, any legislative encroachment on a sovereign parliament should be resisted. Though I do agree that there might be a dilemma when a law that might turn up that we regard as substantively valuable, we might well bend the rule there. I don't know. That would be a matter for consultation.
OK, Andrew Brons, I appreciate you answering my questions. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Your views on that, lots of emails coming in, news@sky.com, 84501 for your text messages. Your views on those European elections last night.